What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece treasure cruise video. We're back again this month with another treasure map, which is going to be treasure map Weevil. This is pretty cool because they once again have given us the information regarding to the fact that we are getting a global exclusive intrusion battle during this treasure map, which is what they did last time again with treasure map Doflamingo. So it's nice that they are reintroducing these battles, allowing you to rack up more points much quicker, which means you can get your point rewards quicker, in turn also meaning that you can max the character a lot easier, which I know is the main component of the treasure maps. As long as you're maxing out that main character that gets released, you're all good. But as I said, we're going through treasure map Weevil in this video today. We're going to talk about the unit himself, and we'll talk about each of the bosses with recommended teams for you guys along the way. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So first thing is first, let's actually talk about the character that we're all going to be farming for in the upcoming treasure map, which is going to be Edward Weevil, Warlord of the Sea, who is a Psy/a striker character. His stats are actually really good after limit break, nearing, up to that 4,000 mark, 1650 attack and 207 recovery, 60 cost of course, and 5 socket spots post limit break. His captain ability will boost slasher characters' HP by 1.35 and attack proportional to the remaining HP. So the way that it works is that if you're at full HP, you get 3.25 times attack to slashes, and then if you're at 1 HP, you get like a 1 times attack. So, obviously with this character, you want to be maintaining that high HP threshold. Not the greatest captain ability overall. His special ability though, which is quite good, maxes at 14 turns, reduces 20 turns of attack down. You heard that correctly. 20 turns of attack down is removed, adds 300 times attack as additional damage to his own attacks for 2 turns, and if the enemy has immunity or delay immunity, boost your crew's attack by 2 times for 1 turn. What a phenomenal special ability. The ability to just remove 20 turns of attack down is crazy. I know Clash Capone is out right now on Global, and I will be uploading a video about that later. And this would be a character that you would love to have for that, to remove the mass amount of turns of attack down that you get inflicted with. Also adding 300 times his attack to his own attacks for 2 turns is quite interesting. It adds actually a lot of extra damage. It would have been nice if it was just a lowered amount of damage that adds to the whole crew, but still 300 times to himself will actually be quite useful. And it does say that this special ability will be very useful for the upcoming Kizuna Bond battle, which will be coming to Global very soon. And also, if the enemy has full immunity or delay immunity, the 2 times attack Rainbow dude, this character is a must max. Like, you cannot miss out on this treasure map. He is so good. So now moving on to actually the Battle Rush bosses. The first one is going to be Buggy the Clown. Kind of a meme, this battle actually. It's extremely straightforward. He only has 100,000 HP at navigation level 1 and gains 10,000 per nav level, so he's not going to have a lot of health, even on the most extreme of nav levels. He is very easy to beat, but his preemptive attack gives him a 5-hit perfect barrier. So allowing you to bypass the barriers is going to be the best way to take down Buggy as fast as possible. Obviously, you can just hit your 6 perfects, but in order to beat it a lot easier, you can use a character, as the image will show here, 6+ Big Mom. She is boosted this treasure map, so she'd be quite good with her Enrage effect, allowing her to bypass the barriers. Or you could use characters with the barrier penetration, limit break ability, or the potential ability. That can also work in taking down Buggy as fast as possible. Moving over to the free-to-play team suggested here. Shout out to Justin Higaki for formulating some of these teams in this video, because he just whipped them up and he hit me up and he said, these teams seem pretty good. So shout out to Justin for helping me out with these teams here. But yeah, barrier penetration is going to be your best friend here, as I said, just allowing you to bypass the barrier, and dealing simple damage to Buggy is just going to be the easy way to win. Moving on to the next of the Battle Rush bosses is going to be Kuma. Kuma is a strength unit, and he has 550,000 HP on nav level 1. His preemptive attack will give himself 98 turns of all poison immunity and 3 turns of resilience. And under 20%, he's going to recover back to 30% of his max HP. And the annoying thing about Kuma is he does have an interrupt whenever you activate a special ability that will manipulate your slots around. So he will go ahead and, for for 6 turns, make all your type slots count as badly matching, and he will go ahead and give you 3 turns of remove SFX, which is otherwise known as blindness. So the best way around Kuma would be to go ahead and remove that resilience, either by using a character that legitimately removes resilience, or to use the ability like a end of turn damage dealer is going to be the best way around Kuma. And obviously you can't manipulate your orbs, so having characters that make orbs beneficial obviously once again is going to be very, very nice here. So moving on to the suggested free-to-play team is a driven based team, because we have Doflamingo, who is a very, very high point booster. He's a 1.35 booster, I do believe. You've also got the raid boss Bartolomeo, who will actually remove resilience on the enemy, which is very nice to have. Zora is kind of good because he has type advantage and he provides color affinity for your driven characters. And you also have Barto and Cavendish as the friend captain, because for their captain ability they make strength, dex, and quick beneficial. So having this type of team is what I would suggest you guys to be aiming for, allowing you to get a pretty good amount of points, as well as dealing with the boss very, very comfortably. Now, this next boss is Boa Hancock, and in my personal opinion, she's going to be the one that is going to cause the most issues for a lot of people. I would strongly suggest clearing Boa Hancock in the mid-map encounter prior to reaching the battle rush if you want to make treasure map easy for yourself. Boa Hancock has a vast array of differing preemptive attacks that just make it an annoyance to get around, but going through it though, she has 640,000 HP, preemptive gives herself delay immunity, she will remove your SFX for 7 turns, 3 turns of special bind to your crewmates, 4 turn of paralysis to your entire team, randomly shuffles your orbs around, and removes all of your beneficial effects. So lots of different things to take into consideration there, and if you did want to just brute force it, you would need a paralysis reducer, a special bind reducer, and some sort of way to get some matching orbs as well. And if you are really that cautious, you could bring a character to remove SFX, but that's really not that big of a deal. On higher navigation levels though, that might cause some issues. Under 20%, if you get her below 20%, your entire team is binded for 20 turns, very reminiscent of the Clash Boa Hancock. Whenever you get her below 20%, your run basically ends right there. And she does have an interrupt as well, is whenever you activate an attack boost, she applies 10 turns of attack down, and the attack down will reduce your attack down to only 20% of the original. So as you can see, lots of different things you have to take into consideration here. So let's move on to the team that I would suggest for you guys here. And the free-to-play team is basically just raid Big Mom as the captain. She's a 1.35 times point booster. And as I suggest, take her down in the mid-map. And with Big Mom's special ability, that is able to just KO Boa Hancock straight away. So not really a big problem right there. I do suggest running Mihawk as a friend captain if you do want more points, because he's a 1.5 times point booster. But yeah, Linlin's special ability is going to be enough damage to go ahead and just KO Boa Hancock very, very simply. But if you do have to you know, take her on in the battle rush, that's going to be very, very difficult to take her down. But ideally, the characters you'd want to be using here are the V2 Zora and Mihawk batch, as they will just brute force and counter what Boa Hancock will do. So if you have that entire batch, this is where you would probably want to be using some of those characters if you do own them. And the final of these Battle Rush bosses before we get to Edward Weevil is going to be Mihawk. Mihawk is a dex character with 700,000 HP, and his preemptive attack will apply 98 turns of full immunity. He has 9 turns of chain coefficient reduction that gets inflicted to your crew, and he himself is going to have 9 turns of a 1-tap good barrier. So you have to hit a good in order to start dealing damage towards him. After the first turn of attacks, Mihawk will apply 99 turns of end of turn damage, where he deals 0.5 times his attack to you every single turn. And the really annoying thing about Mihawk is that when you kill him, he will revive. He changes into an int typing character and then deals 1.2 times his attack to you in int damage, and then he leaves. So the only reason why he revives is because he changes into that int color, and the reason why he does that is so that you will be able to use Colosseum Brook as a character to block that death damage that Mihawk does to you. So it's extremely annoying that they kind of shoehorn the abilities that they do here, just so you have to use Brook in order to block the damage. the damage honestly won't be too harsh, unless if you're on a really high navigation level, but, you know, for the first 20, 30, maybe even 40, maybe 50 plus nav levels, you know, you probably just could build a team that would be able to tank the damage, but, you know, overall, as I said, you know, you can just bring Colosseum Brook to block the damage. So moving on to the team that I'd suggest to you guys against this fight against Mihawk, is again just another slasher team utilizing the Colosseum Smoothie as a captain, because she's a 2.75, I think 2.75 captain for slasher, and we also have just a various amount of slashers here with like Colosseum Kinemon for some more matching orbs. You've also got the Colosseum Brook to block that damage. The brand new extra Colosseum Moria is kind of nice to have here as well, and also Neo Doflamingo for an orb boost. And then for the friend captain, I would highly suggest running the brand new V2 Zoro for the type boost, and he's got a pretty good captain ability as well. So if you have any amount of friends with V2 Zoro, that's going to be very, very beneficial here. So the basic gist of this team is to use all the special abilities and just attack. So just make sure that, you know, if you are a little bit reserved and you want to wait a little bit before you kill him, make sure that when you do eventually kill him, that Brook is active so he can block that damage. Although if you do have 6+ Fujitora, I would highly suggest running him as the captain instead of Smoothie, because when Fuji is the captain, he enables you to get full border matching orbs, as well as giving you a chain lock for your team, which is going to be good for getting around the reduced chain coefficient reduction that is applied to your team as the preemptive attack of Mihawk. And now we get to finally talk about the final boss, which is Edward Weevil. So this is on stage 6, prior to the final boss. Edward Weevil will appear as a mini-boss with 500,000 health. His preemptive attack will apply 4 turns of attack down to your team, and 5 turns of special bind, where strength, dex, and quick characters are the only characters that get affected. So ideally, you want to be building a team that is mono sign int. That's what I would suggest for you guys if you are planning on taking on this treasure map. Of course, having that psi or int team is going to be very, very ideal, unless you could just bring a special bind remover. That is also a way to get around it as well. But when he falls below 50% health, he's going to blow away 2 of your crewmates for 3 turns. So ideally, you don't want to get him below 50%. Definitely take that into consideration. And then the final boss, Weevil, on stage 7, has 1.1 million health at nav level 1. He has 98 turns of full immunity, 6 turns of despair is inflicted to your team, your crew slots are randomly shuffled into either tandem G or bomb orbs, and for 4 turns he applies a damage threshold, and also he has a 1-turn barrier. Now the actual type of barrier that he will put on himself will vary. It's either an orb barrier, a combo barrier, or like a good, great, or perfect barrier. Now the thing is it's only for 1 turn, so as long as you bring a character that can remove 1 turn of barrier, you're good. You don't even have to worry about his barrier at all. But after the first turn of attacks, Edward Weevil will apply 10 turns of increased damage taken to your team, and below 50%, he will then apply 2 turns of Rainbow Shield % damage reduction. So don't get him below 50%, and then under 20%, 4 random units are blown away from your team. So again, just don't get him below those health thresholds and ensure you are ready to burst him. Now moving on to the team for Edward Weevil, this team utilizes Colosseum Katakuri as the captain, as he will go ahead and boost the attack of strikers and also powerhouse characters by 2.75. All of these characters on this team are powerhouse and striker, aside from the Neo Raid Akainu, because he's a fighter driven, but you can replace him with whatever you want. But the great thing about him is that he's a color affinity booster, so that does definitely help out your team a lot. But the way that this team works is on stage 6, when you get inflicted with that 4 turns of attack down, you can use Edward Weevil to go ahead and remove that attack down. Until you get your Edward Weevil, I would suggest running another character that can remove attack down, which I'm not too sure off the top of my head which kind of characters can do that, but even still, you can just go ahead and stall out a couple of turns until your attack down is removed, and then you can take down Edward Weevil from there, because for the first, 10 or so nav levels, he's really not going to be hitting too hard. And then for the final boss stage on stage 7, what you want to be doing is activating that Marco special ability, which is extremely strong here, removing Threshold, Despair, and providing an attack boost for your team. Raid Kuma, or Neo Raid Kuma, is really nice because he shuffles all the orbs that get given to you into matching, as well as applying a 1.75 orb boost, so very, very useful to have. and Raid Blackbeard's great as well, as he's able to remove that 1 turn of barrier on the enemy Edward Weevil. And then of course, as we said, color affinity applied by Akainu is very good. And you know, you don't have to run, you know, Katakuri as the captain. If you have Whitebeard and Marco, the Sugo Fest exclusive Whitebeard and Marco, you can go ahead and run them as the captain, which is more than ideal for that massive 4.25 times attack boost to Psi and Int. So if you do have them, that's going to be very, very nice. Or if you have the treasure map rare recruit Marco, just run double Marco, and that's going to be even better. So now that we've gone through all of these bosses, let's go ahead and discuss these teams once again. Also, just remember that there is an intrusion battle. Unfortunately, we don't know what the intrusion battle is going to be like, so I can't really suggest any characters for a boss fight I don't know about, unfortunately. But talking about these teams once again, against Buggy, we're basically just utilizing the potential ability of barrier penetration to bypass his 5-tap perfect barrier, and obviously he doesn't have a lot of health, so you know, any barrier penetration character will help out a lot. Against the Boa Hancock boss, we're going to be using the slasher team with Big Mom. Now, remember what I said earlier, ensure you are attacking Boa Hancock in the mid-map. That's very, very important, because if you use this team on the final boss fight, I don't think it's going to work too well. So I would just suggest running a slasher team that you can run with the Big Mom captain, and then using Big Mom's special ability during the mid-map is just more than enough to KO that Boa Hancock, and she's the most difficult boss out of all of these bosses that are on this treasure map. Kuma. For Kuma, as I said, it's going to be the fact that you have that Raid Barto to remove the resilience buff of Kuma. You have the color affinity boost with Raid Zoro. Doflamingo's a pretty high point boost to this treasure map, so we're going to be using him, and then, you know, you can run driven characters on the team. And then as the friend captain, I would suggest running Barto and Cavendish, as they do provide lots of matching orbs when they are set as the captain in their dual form. And then against Mihawk, we are using a slasher team once again, and ensuring you have Colosseum Brook on the team, so that when you KO that Mihawk and he revives and does the death damage, you can just completely block it out. And definitely V2 Zoro as the captain is very, very nice here for a mass amount of type boost, which can deal some pretty serious damage there. But remember, if you have V2 Fujitora 6+, you could probably use him as the captain, as that will enable you to get a chain lock that will completely negate the chain coefficient reduction that Mihawk applies to your team. And then, as we just discussed, against Weevil, we're utilizing the treasure map rare recruit Marco as a friend captain. And yes, it is a friend captain of a treasure map rare recruit, but the fact that this treasure map rare recruit is dedicated to be used as a captain, more often than not, you're going to be seeing quite a few of these on your friends list, which is actually kind of good. And then the other characters on this team, you've got just a random captain here with Colosseum Katakuri being a powerhouse and striker captain. If you have Whitebeard and Marco Legend, you can definitely replace him with that. And then on the actual crew itself, we've got Edward Weevil to use his special ability to remove the attack down on stage 6. We've got color affinity with the Akainu. We have orb manipulation and orb boost with that Kuma, and we have the Blackbeard to go ahead and remove the barrier on the enemy side of the field. So that's just about gonna wrap it up, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video today, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.